Now we're gonna do the adjustment. I'm gonna explain how I do it, and then we're gonna try to operate the overdrive with the solenoid, because so far I've been operating it manually. So the manual says to adjust the lever of the solenoid, first you have to come to this side, and if you see this hole behind right here, you have to align the hole on the lever with that hole at the back, and to make sure it's there you have to use a 3/16 drill bit and do that. Okay, now I'll show you what we do on the other side. On this side we have to lift the plunger of the solenoid all the way up, as far as it can go, or we can even operate the solenoid electrically to go up, and that's what I'm gonna do actually, because you can do that, but then you have to hold it with one hand, then push this down with the other hand, and with the third hand tighten this bolt. But if you energize the solenoid, then you can do it with only two hands, and then you have the third one to pick your nose. And now you see this still has a little bit of play up and down. That's the lever. So now you have to make sure that it's all the way down, and now we can tighten this bolt. Okay, and with this the alignment is supposedly done. Don't forget to remove the drill bit from the other side. Okay, the drill bit is out, and now we can test how it goes. And now I'm gonna operate it with the wire on the other side. And nothing happens. So what happens is it goes up, but it doesn't come all the way down. So probably that's not the best adjustment. We need to adjust it in such a way that when it comes this much down, to disengage. But it doesn't disengage now, and you know what's going to happen, right? You're going to turn this column switch off. You're going to believe that the overdrive is off, but it's still in the on position. You're going to switch on reverse. You're going to start backing up your car, and you're going to hear this noise. Okay, and that's going to be the end of the unidirectional clutch. So that's why the adjustment is very, very important. Many people say that the procedure given in the manual doesn't work every time, and you see now it doesn't work for me. So we're going to adjust the valve in a different way with a dial gauge, and we will see then how it works. Now, to do what we want to do, we have to take the operating valve out, and actually now we have to take the gauge out, but now we have pressure inside, so if we take it out, here it's going to become a big mess. So first we have to operate the valve manually a couple of times up and down, and then we will see the pressure going down. So I'm operating the lever manually, and you see the pressure goes down 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. You see, that's many, many times. The manual says 6 times, I think, but I think it needs more than that. I'm operating it already a lot of times. Probably it's gonna leak a little bit of oil. Even though we release the pressure, oil still comes out. And it has bubbles in it, which means there's air still inside. You know what I'm gonna do? I want to check that little hole on the valve, what was it called? Stem, on the valve stem. There it is. And you see how I bent this? So when it goes inside the valve stem, I hope it's gonna get locked there. Okay. It's coming out. And I don't see any debris inside, but I'm gonna clean it, and I'm gonna blow in through the hole to see. So that's why it needs to be non-detergent oil, because at some point you have to blow in it and you don't want to get poisoned. It sounds like I can blow through, but the first time it didn't sound very well. Now it sounds better. Okay, so we're gonna put the valve stem back inside. We're gonna put the bow inside. We're gonna put the plunger inside, but we're not gonna put the spring. So now we have to find something with a little hole in it, which we can use for extension here. Okay, so I have my magnetic base. I put a piece of metal here on top, my magnetic base, and my dial gauge is ready there. I found one of these butt connectors and I stripped it, removed the plastic from around it, and there is a metal tube inside which fits around the plunger like that. So now I have the valve stem inside, the bow. I can drop the plunger with this on top like that, and now I can put my dial gauge on top of that. Okay. So now I have to push it all the way down, and now when I operate the valve, it moves. Okay, so now we are in all the way down position. Now the manual or the instructions, or the guy who wrote the instructions, and I can't really find his name anywhere, and I really want to thank him about these very detailed instructions and tips and tricks there. That's really nice article that he wrote. He did different tests between 6 and 16 tau, and he showed his results there. I'm gonna put it somewhere around 10-11 tau maybe, to see how it operates, and then if we need to, we can adjust it a little bit up and down. But now first I'm curious to see how much is with the drill bit settings, how much of a lift we have here. So I'm gonna zero it here. So we are at 0 now, and I'm gonna use the drill bit again, and I'm gonna put it in the hole to see how much is it. And this is 20, you see it better, I don't see it. That's 23 tau. I'm gonna reduce it to 10 tau. Now I have to push it back down to my 0, and I'm gonna adjust it to, let's say, 11 tau. Right there. And now I'll have to come on the other side and do the whole procedure with the solenoid again. So my solenoid is not energized now. So now when I'm lifting the plunger of the solenoid, I'm not moving the shaft, you see? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna lift the shaft manually of the solenoid, and then I'm gonna energize it. Otherwise I risk launching the bow out and screwing up my dial gauge on the other side. So okay, it's energized now, so it's staying there, I can push it down. And now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna push this down so it touches the bottom end of the solenoid, and I'm gonna tighten the screw. And now with this tight, we can test the system again. I have to put back the valve, of course. I'm gonna have to put back the spring. Instead of the plug, I'm gonna put back the pressure gauge, because I wanna see now if we maybe kicked some air out, and we're gonna be able to increase the pressure a little bit, hopefully. Okay, let's see what's gonna happen now. So the pressure is still at 330, but now it doesn't engage. Yeah, it doesn't shift. Now it doesn't shift, so I'm gonna do the same operation, but I'm gonna add, maybe I'm gonna adjust it to 15 tau. Let's see what's gonna happen with 15 tau. Well, let's say 16, because I like 16 better. My birthday is on 16th. The pressure took some time to build. Still doesn't engage. You can see the pressure doesn't drop at all. So it needs to go higher. So it needs to go still higher to engage. Anyways, I'm gonna adjust it to 20 now, because we know what was happening at 23, right? I have an observation here that I wanted to share with you. So now this is loose, it goes up and down, but I had it pushed too much in on the shaft, and when it's pushed a lot on the shaft, then this moves really hard, even though it's not tightened to the shaft now. But if I pull it a little bit out, now it moves very easy. So maybe that was the issue when it was at 23. Maybe the adjustment with the hoe is the right adjustment. When I put it at 20 now, I'm gonna make sure that the lever is at the same level with the end of the shaft, because then it moves very easy up and down here. Another funny thing here, funny trick, I need to put this on the plunger, right? But if you see, the plunger always wants to go to the side because it's sitting on top of the bowl, right? So I'm having hard time putting it on the little pipe. But with the magnet I can straighten it, you see? And now I can trick it. You see? So that's a little trick that I learned. I couldn't get it to exactly 20, so I got it to 21. It slipped a little bit on me, but here this is flush, and now it's loose. So you know that if it doesn't go down, it's not because the plunger for some reason gets stuck here, because it is pretty free. Okay, now it's engaged, but the question is it gonna disengage? Yes, it did. Engage, disengage. I just want to see now from disengaged position how much does it need until it engages again. Just trying to see if there is a possibility that it engages on its own without the solenoid. Okay. I still think it can go a little bit. Well, obviously, since the valve is clean and there's no debris on it, and it still doesn't come back very easy, I think what the problem is that this shaft is, I can feel it's going up and down very hard, and it's not the solenoid what's holding it. You see, the solenoid is free, and the actual shaft has a lot of tension in it, and I think that's the O-ring that we installed between this little box here and the housing of the overdrive. It's getting squeezed very hard, and that's what's preventing the shaft of going up and down free. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the solenoid itself. I'm gonna remove the valve on the other side, and I will see how easy it is or how hard it is to move the shaft up and down. And if that's the case, then probably I'm gonna have to take the box out, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I have to figure out something, because if the overdrive gets stuck in engaged position, that's not good, you know. Since I'm gonna be removing this box probably, I'm gonna also add a washer on the spring to see if we can bring the pressure a little bit higher. Yeah, you see, it's very hard to operate that up and down. I think the little O-ring is holding it. Okay, I'm gonna remove the valve on the other side too. Yeah, that's really hard to turn. This needs to be spinning like I read somewhere in the forums that this needs to spin like the knob on the radio. Very free, but it's not free. Well, I'm gonna open the box. Yeah, I'm gonna change this bolt because it's really weird size. It's not 7/16, it's not 11, it's not, I don't know. Yeah, it still turns very hard, so I'm gonna have to take this out, but for this reason I have to tip the transmission on one side because there's oil inside, right? So now you remember here we have the two nuts and we have the two long bolts, so the two bolts go last. Now actually when it's loose, I'm gonna try to turn it again and see if it's easier to turn it. Where is it leaking from? I forgot my valve was out and the plug was not installed, so it started leaking from there. And I made a mess. Now that the O-ring is depressed, it still spins not very easy. Let me remove the whole cover and we will see. Yeah, this is the O-ring I'm talking about. It's sticky from the gasket maker. And now it turns freely. Okay, so that was the problem. But how do I fix it? Okay, now that I have this open, I'm gonna put a washer at the end of this spring to make it compress more, and we will see if that will increase the pressure a little bit. According to this manual again, it says that a 1/16 inch thickness of a washer added here is gonna add about 50 psi to the pressure. So I found this washer which is 60 tau. 1/16 is 63 tau, so I think we are pretty close. And about the O-ring, when I put the gasket, I'm not gonna put gasket maker here around the ring. I'm gonna do only here on the outside, so it doesn't get sticky. And I will see what I can put on the O-ring itself, because they say to add Vaseline, but I don't have Vaseline, so maybe I'm gonna put some grease on it and hopefully it's gonna work well. I think I went too close already. So you see, I don't have a gasket maker here. And I have some white grease here. I'm gonna put some on the shaft. And yes, it can be washed by the oil, but if it gets washed by the oil, this means that oil reaches there. And if oil reaches there, this means it's gonna lubricate the O-ring too, so that should be fine. Whether it's white grease or oil, I don't care, as long as something lubricates the O-ring and the shaft. And I'll put some in this hole here too. Hopefully that's gonna make a difference. So now the washer. It goes right there, and I have to make sure that this falls right into it. Okay, it went in. Okay, now before I even tighten them, I'm gonna check the shaft. And it spins. Oh, actually it started spinning. Now it's a little bit easier. Okay, I'm gonna tighten it. I have no other option. And because I lost some oil, I'm gonna top it up. Now I have this open, and I'm gonna top it up. Actually, you don't see anything, right? Okay, let's try this way. Chef, we should have thought about this yesterday, huh? Remove one of the switches and top up the oil from there on yours. Well, I lost more than I thought, huh? Or maybe there was not enough inside to begin with. Maybe after I ran it for a while, the oil went all over the place and the level wasn't enough. So maybe that was the reason why the pressure wasn't sufficient. Well, we'll see now. I'm gonna open another bottle because I had like 1/4 of a liter in that bottle, and I poured it all, and it's still not to the right level. So I think I didn't lose so much. Yeah, so that's 1/2 liter plus 1/4 of a liter. That's 3/4 of a liter that I added. And when I tipped it to the side, I didn't lose more than 150 milliliters, I'm sure. So obviously we didn't have enough oil inside. And to be honest, this is easier now. It's not that hard. So let's see if it is gonna work. So I'm gonna assemble it now. I'm gonna adjust it with the method with the drill bit there, because it turned out that we were very close to that, right? And we'll see how it performs. Okay, so we shouldn't forget the collar here. And I changed this screw because, like we said, the head was some really weird size. I'm gonna blow one more time through this. It's clean. I'm gonna drop it inside. Then I'm gonna drop the bowl, plunger, spring, and I'm gonna put the pressure gauge instead of the plug. Now we're gonna do the drill bit adjustment. Now it's much easier to go up and down, hopefully. Now we won't have any issues. So, the moment of truth again. Yes, 350, right where we want it. Haha! Okay, we changed too many things now. We don't know if this is thanks to the washer that we installed inside or because we topped up the oil, but we are right where we want to be. So next step now, let's see how the solenoid operates. Okay. Engaged. disengaged, engaged, disengaged. Yay! I'm just gonna leave it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes until it warms up, and we will see how it operates then again. But I believe that this time everything is gonna be fine here. That was my main concern. But now everything is fine. Actually now when it was on neutral so far, but now I put it in 4th gear and now it comes out of overdrive much faster even. Now we can even make an RPM test. We can check the RPMs on the pulley here. We have 1782. I hope you see it. And here, let me see if I can do it like this. I have about 1090. That's because this pulley is a little bit bigger than this one and we have a reduction. So we are running the overdrive at 1090 RPM. So let's go and check on the other side. Now we are in 4th gear, so we should have the exact same RPM on the other side. And we have the exact same, 1090 RPM. It varies a little because I can't hold the light right at the reflective plate. But let's see now what's going to happen when we engage the overdrive. It drops to 896. Disengage, 1090. Engage, 896. So let's do a calculation now. 1090 divided by 896 equals 1.20 to 1. So that's the exact ratio of our overdrive, 1.2165. It's been running now for more than 15 minutes and it's nice and warm. Operating temperature, and now we're going to check again if this operating valve shaft is going to operate well. So it's engaged and disengaged. Now I can relax. So now I can tell that the first overdrive is successfully rebuilt over code or whatever, and now I officially can celebrate because I was really concerned about the pressure and about how is it going to operate, but now I'm relaxed, I'm happy, and I can install it in the car, and the next video is going to be probably that. And then we still have one more overdrive to overhaul, you know, so there's going to be more videos in this series, but I'm happy about this one. Now I'm busy.